Hey, today y'all family at this time, may the peace of y'all be come upon you, each and every one of you when you learn to obey him. This is a very important video I'm about to do at this time. This part 2, I'm going to pick up where I left off at from the book of Malachi, what they call Malachi at this time, brothers and sisters. I left off in chapter 1, brothers and sisters. And I'm going to start us off in verse 6 at this time. Yes, the title of this is offerings, the new moon and the Sabbath. It's very important that we get into this information, and we was taking a look back in the past how y'all gave Moshe, what they call Moses, the instructions how to perform the days and keep them, and how offerings should be made on the different occasions, brothers and sisters, at this time. It's very important at that time. I was saying at this time because I'm about to get into the scriptures at this time. But at that time, that was the instructions that went out, brothers and sisters. And y'all told them to bring clean animals, present to him pure animals. Not just clean, but pure, without defects. And I was showing you, and I'm going to show you in this video as well, how the priests and the people polluted the offerings, what led to our nation being put out of the homeland, the promised land that was given unto them in the east, brothers and sisters. And that's how we became scattered all over the earth at that point. So let's get into in Malachi, they call Malachi in the translation. It say a son honors his father, a servant honors his master. He said, I am your father and your master, yet you don't honor me, O priest. See how he went after the leaders? Because the priests should know better. They the closest ones to Yah. They the ones that been given the charge to instruct and to minister and to be servants before Yah at the temple. And should be more strict concerning the Torah of Yah, the ways of Yah, because they've been instructed and taught, most of them all the days of their life. Brothers and sisters, I'm reading this from the translation called Open Bible Translation at this time. Maybe yours read a little different. Majority translation does read differently. It's an old priest, but you despise my name. See, dishonor, hate his name, his identity, when they began to turn away from Yah instructions. It said, who asked? That was the reply. And you say, when did we ever despise your name? It said, when you offered polluted, see, they got sacrifice, but it's offerings on my altar, the slaughter place. You see, it's a polluted offerings. When have we ever done a thing like that? This was they would reply. See, this was recorded because there was a conversation, and the middleman at this time was the prophets. You see, that came and were talking to the priests, and Yah was telling the prophet what they have said and done. See, y'all never go past y'all hearing and what people do. So, but this is the response back to the priest for Yah. It said, polluted offerings. When have we ever done a thing like that? It said, every time you say, don't bother bringing anything very valuable to offer to Barah, see, the creator. See, this is what the priest has done. They were instructing the people It said, you tell the people lame animals are all right to offer on the altar of Yah. If you saw part 1, you know of Yah's instructions. So he would not accept defiled animals. But the priest gave false instruction and told the people, and the people listen, it's all right to offer on the altar of Yah. Yes. Let me go back up a little bit. It said, you tell the people lame animals are all right to offer on the altars of Yah. Yes, even the sick and blind ones. And you claim that is an evil. Try it on your governor sometime. And give gifts like that and see how pleased he is. It said, but Ra have mercy on us. You recite. See, that's what they were saying. Contrary to the words of Yah, Yah would remove his mercy, which he did when our people didn't obey him. See? It said, but Ra they got gracious to us. With the other word, to make compassion to us. But when you bring that kind of gift, why should he show you any favor at all? This is what the prophet was saying to them, to the priest. He said, oh, so find one priest among you who would shut the doors and refuse this kind of offering. I have no pleasure in you, says Yah of hosts, and I will not accept your offerings. See why? That's the reason why Abiyah did not accept our offerings, our ancestor offerings at that time. It had nothing to do with animal offerings. It had something to do with defiled animal offerings. So keep that in mind. Because pure animal offerings without defects was pleasing in the sight of Yah, because that was Abiyah's instructions. See, the other churches, religions, they teach you in front of King James verse, not the King James verse, from the New Testament. In the book of Hebrews chapter 10, they teach you contrary. That animal offering was useless. No. It was all a part of an act of obeying Yah, following his instructions to learn to reverence him. So keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. So right here, Abiyah said he would not accept them offerings. But 11 said, but my name will be honored by the Gentiles from morning till night all around the world. They will offer sweet incense and pure offerings in honor of my name. See, this time is coming. On that day, that's going to take place. Let me finish the rest. It said, for my name shall be great among the nations, says Yah of hosts. See, in that day, in that time, he's going to make his name great. So I'm going to go over to the book called Hosea, the prophet, at this time and read to 11. See, because right there, Abiyah was showing the prophets. He was showing the people, and the priests were letting them know that he would not accept their offerings. And in Hosea 2:11, this way the sentence came down on a further from the prophet, from this prophet Hosea. 2:11 reads right here. Give me a moment, let me get there. Give me a moment, family. I'm trying to locate 11 right here. Okay. Excuse me. I was looking at verse 1. Excuse me. 2:11 right here. He said, I will put an end to all her joys, her parties, they got holy holidays, but it's the feast days. It's the holidays, which would have been the Kodesh days and feasts. I will destroy. No, that's 12. But in this particular translation, it don't show you a variety of things. But it says, I will put an end to all her joys, her parties, her holidays, Kodesh days, set apart days. See, that's talking about all the 7 new moons and all, and feasts. Some other translations show it even more. It breaks it out, but not this particular translation I have at this time. But it telling you all of them occasions in 11, I'm going to stop. We're going to put an end to it. To the things, to the feast for a period of time for punishment. Because they did not walk in the ways of Yah. So right there, I want to read something in Hosea chapter 5. This dealing with the priest right here. Chapter 5, verse 14 real quick. And it reads, it said, I will tear Ephraim and Yah, these are the two nations, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom that was in the land at the time, ruled in that territory, as a lion, and rip apart its prey. He said, I will carry them off and chase all rescuers away. See, anybody that try to save them, when the Father said when he was going to carry them away into captivity, allow them to be carried away, nobody was going to be able to rescue them. He said, I will abandon them and return to my home until, see, he got a limit, a period of time. See, he said, until they are, until they, this is very important, right? Until they admit their guilt and look to me for help again. See, this is very vital. Because see, the Father read this showed you. When the time he promised, in the first one he chased off was the see, Ephraim, when it say Ephraim was the head tribe from Yosef over the 9 nations, nine tribes. It was 10. It was over 10, but they put the Levites out, and the Levites came and strengthened Yada. Then was Yada, Benjamin, and Levi made up the southern tribe. But the other 9 tribes was under the guidance of Ephraim from Yosef's seed, from the tribe of Yosef. So the first one got put out was Ephraim, then Yada. So Yah said he's going to carry, he said, I will carry them off and chase all rescuers away. See, no, so that means it was going to be nobody to rescue them. No Messiah, Yah said, until they admit. See, they fought, and then, see, Yah said he's going to go back to his place home, and stay away from them. So he had no one going to be able to intervene on their behalf. So that I read there, if you understand the scripture, what I'm reading to you, it was nobody, no mediator, no Messiah that came to die and do anything for us. Because Yah said we got to look to him. Nobody else. We're not looking on no Messiah and saying, in the great name of Messiah, and saying this one did something so great to make peace between us and Yah. No. Nobody. Let's read that again. He said, I will tear Ephraim and Yada as a lion, and rip apart its prey. And I will carry them off and chase all rescue. See, rescuers away. That means nobody to deliver them away. He said, I will abandon. See, that means he abandoned us. When all of y'all abandoned us, I read it in 2:11. He stopped it. He said, I don't want nothing from you. He abandoned us. But he left one window open for us to, and he said 2/3. And other scripture show 2/3 going to die by famine and war. But he said he gonna save a remnant. But the remnant got to admit what their ancestors done. That's what it's showing you right here. When you put all these other scriptures together with this prophecy right here, then you'll begin to understand our situation. How nobody came to rescue us. Nobody, the Father sent nobody into that land. He said he's going to abandon it. Y'all don't twist his words. He said both nations got carried out from that land. And another scripture tells you for a long time. But he said, I will carry them off and chase all rescues away, and I will abandon them and return to my home until they admit their guilt and look to me for help again. You see that? For as soon as trouble comes, they will search for me and say, you see that? Let me read verse chapter 6. Come, let us return to Yah. It is he who has torn us. He will heal us. See, remember how they see, y'all the one that torn us and gonna heal us. And remember how the scripture they said, this one died for us, he was torn and all this. See, they try to put all that on somebody fake character when we were the one was torn by Yah. Remember how he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of peace was upon him. All that is a lie, brothers and sisters. Y'all torn us, our nation. He ripped us from the kingdom because of the disobedience to him. When I'm coming from the priest to the people. I show you one great law that they broke in dealing with the offerings and told the people they could bring all kinds of sick and lame and blind animals. So right here it said, come, let us return to Yah. It is he who has torn us. He will heal us. He has wounded. He will bind us up. How far I'm going to go? Down to verse 7. In just a couple of days, or 2 or 3 at the most. Some people say that's in the 3,000 years, which now we are in the 3,000 years. It's been over 2,000 years since our nation put out the land. We are in the 3rd day now. Like one day to Yah is like, some scripture take, it's like 1,000 years. So we in the 3rd day. We passed the 2nd day. We into the 3rd day. That's where they got the 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. See how they want to make things up, brothers and sisters. But right here, it said 3 at the most. He will set us on our feet again. You see that? That puts you in the mind right there in Ezekiel chapter 37. Can he dry bones live? And he said he's going to raise us up out of the grave of exile. He's going to put his ruach back into us, his spirit, the spirit of knowledge. Brothers and sisters, that in the troublous time that we're in trouble, it says that when trouble comes, when the trouble time comes, they will search for me and say. See, he said we're going to search for him. And say. We're going to start searching for him and say. And that's what you see all over the earth. People in the church are searching. Everywhere our people in the times of trouble is searching for the Creator. Because the thing in America, and you can really see this, the people that's in America, Out of all the nations in America, the Hebrew people is being attacked the worst and being killed. That's going to force people to start searching for their creator, because they're going to realize there's nothing else to save. We can't run to the government because the government is the one killing you. Why are you going to run to a government that is killing you? Then blame it on something else, to really get you under deception. So right here it says, come, let us return to Yah. I read that point. Let me go down. In a couple of days or 3 at the most, he will set us on our feet again to live in his kindness. You see that? Oh, that we might know Yah. Let us press on to know him. And he will respond to us. He will respond to us as surely as the coming of dawn or the rain of early spring. It's an old Ephraim and Yada. What shall I do with you? For your love vanished like morning clouds and disappears like dew. I sent my prophets to warn you of your doom. You see that? So who he sent? The prophets. A lot of the prophet was on the priests of Yah. That was in obedience to, in compliance with Yah. That went with the other priests that were that turned from Yah. You got to keep that in mind as well. So, brothers and sisters, this is very important, to hear the words from the prophets. A lot of people turn their ear from the prophets and want to make themselves greater than the prophets. You'll never get the Yah that way. You'll be a rebel. The warning came from the prophets. So you got to look to the prophets. See, one thing we look to the laws, to the law, the Torah. That's why in Isaiah I tell you, if it's not according to the law and the testimonies of Yah, the testimonies of Yah came from the prophets of what's going to be done, what's going to be shut down. A lot of people don't know what's been shut down. They keep looking to the law. You just can't look to the law by itself after we got put out of the land. Because the laws never changed, but the Father put restrictions on us until a certain time period. That's what a lot of people overlook, the restriction. They don't go to the prophets. Certain things we got to do to get back in line with Yah. Even to make our offerings acceptable to Yah, we got to do. The priests got to know what to do. We all got to know, so we got to look to the prophets. We got to look to the testimonies of Yah. That's why Yah said they don't speak according to the law and the prophecies. The testimonies of Yah, depending on what translation you have. The truth is not in them. You got to look to both. You just can't look to the law by itself, because you got to know the instruction that what Abiyah said after our people got punished and after Abiyah abandoned us for a period of time. When Abiyah abandoned us, he didn't accept nothing from it. Nothing you could have do to him to please him. You couldn't keep no law of his after he already abandoned you. He didn't accept nothing from our nation at that time. So you got to understand and know the things we must do to return to him in the right way, in the right order. So brothers and sisters, we read here. It said, I sent my prophets so to warn you of your doom. He said, I have slain you with the words of my mouth. You see that? Threatening you with death. Suddenly, without warning, my judgment will strike you. See? As surely as day follows night. He said, I don't want your offering. See? I want your love. I don't want your offerings. I want you to know me. See the words of Yah, brothers and sisters? But like Adam, you broke my covenant. You refused my love. I'm going to cut that off right there. And then I'm going to go to, so I wanted to show you that, brothers and sisters, why Abiyah didn't want our offerings, because they were defiled. I read that to you earlier, so keep that in mind. He didn't want, he said, I want your love. And he told us, and I read to you, what do we must do? We must admit the fault for breaking the Abiyah covenant. What our ancestors done that brought these things on us. But going to come a time when only a person will pay for their own sins, but at that time, it was a part of the law that even on the judgment will come on generations after their children. So, but obviously, going to come a time when that's not going to be no more. So, brothers and sisters, right here, I'm going to go to Isaiah, the prophet, at this time. That's why the prophet is so important. A lot of people want to overlook the prophets and start and talk bold and cocky, but they're going to see they're going to find themselves destroyed. Destructions, the revelation come from the prophets. That shows how we're going to get back home, the mannerisms. So the prophet is so important. So in the law, don't show you how to get back home and every step you got to take. Yes, it shows you how to keep the laws that was already written, but it don't guide you right back to Yah. See, we got to know where to go. In the law, you can read all the laws, they're not going to tell you where to meet Yah at. That comes from the instruction from the prophets. See, so you got to put all two together. Then when all the prophecy fulfill, then we'll just be keeping the laws, the way of life. See, we won't need them kind of instructions from the prophet because they be all fulfilled. But right now we need the instructions from the prophecies. But we don't reject the Torah of Yah by no means. But we got to understand what we could keep and what we can't keep at this time. What we can practice and what we can't practice. That's what we got to know. We all got to know. So right here, I want to begin with verse 1. I'm going to read the whole chapter 1 in my time. So right here, so chapter 1 is very important. That's why I'm going to read the whole thing. So let me get right into it, brothers and sisters, of Isaiah from the beginning. It said, these are the messages that came to, his real name is Yashaya, but they got Isaiah, the son of Amos, actually Amosiah, in the vision he saw during the reign of King Uzziah, King Jonathan, King Ahaz, King Hezekiah, all kings of Yada. And these messages, Barah, the creator, showed him what was going to occur to Yada and Yashalom in the days ahead. See? It said, listen, O heavens and earth, to what Yah is saying. The children I raised and cared for so long and tenderly have turned against me. You see that? Even the animals, the donkeys, and the ox know their owner and appreciate his care for them. But not my people. Y'all shall yell, Yah. This is what we all need to keep in mind, how evil our nation became towards Yah, the Creator. No matter what I do for them, they still don't care. Oh, what a sinful nation. Let me meditate on it. See that? Sinful nation. Why this great punishment came upon our nation. But Allah opened the door for us, even through His mercy. He said, if we admit these things, He will deliver us. He said, oh, sinful nation. They walk bent back beneath their load of guilt. Their fathers before them were evil. 2, born to be bad. They have turned their backs upon Yah and have despised the Kodesh one of Yashael Yah. They have cut themselves off from my help. You see that? Kun, they cut themselves off from my help. That's what he's saying. Oh, my people, haven't you had enough of punishment? Why will you force me to whip you again and again? Must you forever rebel? See, turning away from Yah, rebelled against Yah, not following His instructions. And He taught this to the whole nation, the whole 12 tribes. From head to foot, you are sick and weak. You see that? From head to foot, sick and weak, and faint, and covered with bruises, whelps, and infected wounds, unanointed and unbound. Your country lies in ruins. Your cities are burnt while you watch. Foreigners are destroying and plundering everything they see. You stand there helpless and abandoned like a watchman's shanty in the field when the harvest time is over, or when the crops is stripped and robbed. You see that, brothers and sisters, right here? What took place to our nation, brothers and sisters? You see, Yah showed the prophets all these things concerning our nation. Let me read this right here. It said, if Yah of hosts had not stripped in to, if I did not step in to save a few of us, we would have been wiped out as Sodom and Gomorrah were. A apt comparison. Listen, you leaders of Yashael Yah, you men of Sodom and Gomorrah, as I call you now. See the bad reputation our nation got in the eyes of Yah at that time, like Sodom and Gomorrah. Sinful nation. It said, listen to Yah, hear what He is telling you. I am sick of your offerings. Don't bring me any more of them. I don't want your fat rams. I don't want to see the blood from your offerings. Who want your offerings when you have no sorrow for your sins? You see that, brothers and sisters? See much about offering and why he didn't want to offer. Remember, he told the priest, the sick, the lame. Always remember that in the mind why Abia didn't want to offer. They had no sorry for his sin. How can a person be sorry for their sins and bring anything to y'all? They're not no remorseful. Because when you're remorseful, you're going to bring exactly what he tell you. And those who accept it, they're going to be strict concerning the ways of Yah, because they're going to know how important it is to forget forgiveness from Yah. They thought they was getting away with it at that time. Abiyah didn't want watching them. He said, the incense you bring me is a stench in my nostrils. See, because Abiyah always tell us, and he told the prophet, he watched closely over his people. So every time they brought these things, all these things was accounted for. It doesn't matter how many days go past, Abiyah watched over his people, his work. Make sure it's done perfectly every time. He said right here, your Kodesh celebrations. They got holy, but Kodesh celebrations of the new moon and of the Sabbath and your special days for fasting, even your most pious meetings, all are frauds. I want nothing more to do with them. Let's go back and read that again, bro. Right here. It's not just found in Hosea chapter 2:11. This is one. That's why this is very important right here. I should cut it off right here and make this a part 3. Because there's so much to be read. And so you can meditate on this. Brothers and sisters. Let's read this again. It said, the incense you bring me is a stench in my nostrils. These are the words of Yah he gave to the prophets to tell the people, to Yada and Yashalon at that time. He said, in nostrils, your Kodesh celebrations of the new moon and the Sabbath and your special days for fasting. See, talking about the Day of Atonement. Even your most pious meetings all are a fraud. And I want nothing more to do with them. I hate them all. I can't stand the sight of them. From now on, when you pray with your hands stretched out to heaven, I won't look or listen, even though you make many prayers. I will not hear, for your hands are those of murderers. They are covered with the blood of your innocent victims. You see the judgment? This is the judgment what I'm reading to you of Yah. Remember I told you the laws, and you go back and read all them laws, like a lot of people do today. But they don't know nothing about the judgments of Yah. So they're going to keep all these things without being clean again. Without bringing a peace offering to Yah. They don't know what they do, brothers and sisters. Abiyah stop these things. Abiyah said, until our people turn back unto him. That's why he said, even when another messenger tell you, he got to clean the priest by the messenger. And then when the time comes, we got to get animals from a certain place. They got to be inspected. They got to be presented to Yah The slaughter place got to be built. The temple got to be built. The slaughter place got to be atoned for. The priest got to be atoned for. See? You got to build a slaughter place. The priest got to bring an offering to Yah to be atoned for. To become clean again. So now the altar got to be atoned for. The priest got to be atoned for. And then the people got to be atoned for. All of this you can find in Ezekiel chapter 43, verse 18 to 27. Then Abiyah say he going to accept this again. You can also find that in Malachi, which I'm going to cover at the end of this series. I'll probably do part 3. Because this is a very important video right here, bro, to show you. A lot of people don't know. Remember, you can go read the 50 Absalom said they are forever. They are forever. But Abiyah punished our nation for a period of time. Then we're going to pick right back up and keep them. But Abiyah always acknowledges, when he said it's forever, he acknowledges forever. But if he got to do away with a group of people, he's going to do it with a group of people. Abiyah said he didn't want nothing because our people was unclean, defiled. So keeping the Sabbath, the feast days, didn't mean nothing to y'all in a defiled state. A lot of people keeping their Sabbath now in a defiled state. Well, we're all unclean to y'all at this time. Their heart's not right, their mind not right, but they call themselves keeping the Sabbath. You got to know how to turn back to y'all. That's why it's all in the prophets, brothers and sisters. So right here it say let me get it. Say your Kodesh celebrations of the new moon. See the Kodesh they got hold of, it's set apart of the new moon and the Sabbath. This is the weekly Sabbath and your special days for feasting. Fasting. Even your most pious meetings all are frauds. I want nothing more to do with them. I hate them all. I can't stand the sight of them. From now on, when you pray, I read that part. So keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. I'm going to pick back up at that same spot in part 3. Because I don't want to make this video too long because I want to get you time to meditate on it. Because it's so important, brothers and sisters, that you meditate on that part I already did. And then I'm going to add some more information and show you the time in part 3. How and by who and when the Sabbath is going to be made Kodesh again, brothers and sisters. With that, I say Todah Yah.